So, Jim, one of the things about E4 experience, one of the things that you guys have added this year is new certifications. You guys have always had the Avixa certification, and this year you announced SDVOE and Digital Signage Federation certification, the opportunity to earn renewal units. Now, you're a big digital signage guy at Almo. Why is the DSF certification opportunity so important for Almo attendees?
Well, a lot of people coming to an E4 show are learning about digital signage for the first time, and that's kind of strange. It's an AV show. It's been around for 10 years. This is, we're in our 10th year of doing these E4 shows, and yet still people are new to digital signage. So any type of class that they can take, especially the one that we're offering, is just gives people a chance to dip their toes into this. Now, we also have somebody who's a veteran. So if there's somebody who's been around digital signage, they can talk to Spencer and get some of those details out of him. He's been doing this as long as anybody. And so we're working with the right people. But the idea that an AV integrator who doesn't really rely on digital signage, maybe doesn't get a lot of digital signage in their mix of business, has an opportunity to learn from an industry veteran is just, amazing, amazing opportunity.
So, I'm really interested in your perspective on, the whole digital signage thing. And if people don't know your background, you had founded this company called Insteo, which I'll describe it as, like a creative company that creates digital signage content for partners such as integrators to deploy with, with their customers' digital signage solutions. And you had long worked with Almo as a third-party partner. And then not too long ago, Almo acquired Insteo, and you came on board and you brought your sort of unique perspective on digital signage. And one of the things I've learned from you over the years is how important the content is to any digital signage equation, and something that maybe the integration community might want to pay a lot more attention to. Talk about, since you came on at Almo, how have things evolved in terms of how you're presenting digital signage to dealers?
Yeah, we're looking at an entire range of services relating to digital signage. One of the things that I always say is that prior to the acquisition, we operated like a web development agency. We didn't do websites, we do digital signage. So if you think about that, a web development agency does graphics, they do programming, they do a lot of technology, and they're mixing marketing and technology together. That's the same thing that happens on digital signage. There's certainly the reason it exists is to communicate. It's just a communication medium, just like websites, just like marketing material, just like any of those things. There are certainly different types of digital signage. There's informational signage, there's advertising-based signage, but for the most part, it's all a marketing message. That's what kind of makes it a little bit different than, let's say, building a conference room. There's not a lot of marketing in building out a conference room. There's not a lot of marketing in setting up audio equipment and setting up video conferencing systems and those types of things. But digital signage is based on marketing. The reason clients are investing in it is to achieve a goal. That could be informing their employees with in-house signage. It could be directly advertising new products. So that's what makes it different to the rest of what we do in AV, is because it's based on marketing. It's based on a communication requirement. You're not just installing a TV and turning on a TV channel and just walking away. You now have to feed this thing. You have to feed it with content. So what Almo's doing is taking every service related to digital signage and providing a solution for it. And that's what we're doing with our group, is we do content creation, we do programming, we do creative work, but we also just do player setup. We will help an integrator get their players online. We'll interface with their customers and talk them through the creative process, through the onboarding process. We're getting up to speed with this. So it's so much more than just selling boxes. It's so much more than just moving some equipment in, getting it installed correctly. After that sale, this is one of the only areas in AV where you continually have to feed that particular hardware, or else it's going to get stale, it's going to get boring, and that's not what the customer invested in the first place.
Right.
And so it's a whole different animal, and a lot of integrators have just stayed away. It's not a big part of their business. it's not the hugest loss if they let some of that get away. But what we've experienced is if they do let some of that get away, if a traditional integrator lets that digital signage piece get away, it's going to companies that just do digital signage and are adding integration. We've seen so many situations where a digital signage integrator, that's all they do, is
Right.
now doing conference rooms, is now doing the bread and butter work
Right.
of the rest of the AV industry. And that's even been happening with digital signage software companies, digital signage hardware companies are taking on lots of large projects that seem like they're outside their lane. So for integrators, we'd like to just give them the whole service. Anything they need digital signage related,